Hustle and motivate. Hustle and motivate. Chris Woods, the one and only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. How you been, man?
Man, I've been great as far as I know. Like I always tell people, if people ask me how I'm doing, I always say, as far as I know, I'm doing great.
I heard that. I heard that. All right. What's good, YouTube? I'm Dewan Lightfoot. Today is Monday. And people often wake up every day on Mondays and dread it. They lack motivation. I get a lot of questions about motivation, how to stay motivated, how to get motivated for certifications, how to get motivated to accomplish a goal, how to get motivated to learn something new. And if you ask me, I'm the type to wake up and do it. But there are times, especially in 2020, where I just kind of lost my desire to be motivated. And when that happened, there's one person I go to that is a friend, a big brother, and somebody that has ultimate discipline. Chris Woods. He's a Weber State graduate, a master's degree from WDGU. He's a motivational speaker. He's an author. In the description of this video, his books are in there. He's even taught his son to be an author, and he trains other people to be authors. I got that one mailbox at a time. There it is. That's his son's book. Chris Woods is, he's a remarkable person. And so for those of you that need motivation, I'm going to introduce you to Let's Go, Chris Woods.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Wake up and
Yes,
work.
sir, yes, sir.
Wake up and work.
Wake up and work. Wake up and work. Wake up and work. I don't care what you're doing. That's the answer to it. Work. Hard work is undefeated.
Yo, hard work is, look, that jewel right there is what you about to hear all night long. Chris Woods, you did a speech. You graduated from WGU with your master's in business and management, right?
Management and leadership.
Management and leadership. Last year?
Last year, yep.
Okay.
Actually, I guess two years now, because this year almost over with. So, yeah, two years.
Okay, 2 years ago. And I shared that if you go to my comment section, I'm going to drop a link to that commencement speech that he did at WGU. There were thousands of people in the audience.
Yeah.
Yo, that speech is up there with Denzel Washington. And I'm not even playing, bro.
Go gas me up. Keep gassing me up. Keep gassing me up.
Hold up. I'm going to give you a quote from what he said. He said, whoever said speaking into existence probably didn't accomplish much. Don't wish for it. You got to work for it. And I know this man personally, and he lives by this. Bruh.
What's up?
When you did that speech, you mentioned that you lost your brother, your wife had breast cancer.
Yep.
You lost your house.
Yep.
Your kids were sick in the emergency room. And all of these things happened on your journey to achieving your master's degree. But you persevered.
Kept going.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's something, people always talk about, and they look at something, people always say, you don't see the big picture. Well, for me, I don't ever look at the big picture. I'm too busy examining the small pieces. Because what I've always learned that the duty is in the details. So when something, people get anxiety and overwhelmed because they always trying to look at the big picture. The only thing I'm focusing on is just taking a bite, chewing that, swallowing, then worrying about the next bite. I'm not worried about nothing else except what's in front of me. It's kind of like that's the concept of my book, One Mailbox at a Time. Is I'm really taking it one mailbox at a time. So we're going to get through this minute, then we're gonna worry about the next minute. Then we're gonna get through this minute, then we're gonna worry about the next minute. And before you know it, we do that 60 times in a row, we got an hour done. Do that 24 times and we got a day done. We do that 7 times, now we got a week done. You see, so I'm not really focusing on long term. I'm focusing in on short term. Keeping my mind focused on, and I always tell people this, and it's just firm for me. Everybody got their different belief system, but I always believe that if you keep God first, it's gonna work out. And in everything you do. So when I'm setting my day up, it's based around God, my goals, the operation, and the demand. What am I trying to accomplish? Okay, so I'm gonna set my goal, the operation, how I'm gonna get to doing, and the demand don't never change. It's always work. Hard work, smart work, consistent work, but it's always work. And I was just, when I had all them things that you mentioned going on, I dealt with those things accordingly, and then I kept on moving with the things that I had to do otherwise. Now, on the the journey with that, like I'm saying, it wasn't nothing easy. It was some long days, late nights, and early mornings, a lot of them. But that's the sacrifice. And with everything that you do is gonna come sacrifice. It comes with it. I don't care what you're trying to achieve. You got to give up something. And for me, it just happened to be at that point in time, I just had to give up a little sleep. Had to sleep a little less, work a little harder. Um, I never got caught up in the fact that, okay, all of this stuff is happening around me, because I always, when I during the graduation speech, I took it back to, I likened it to Peter in the Bible, when Peter wanted to walk on water, and he started to walk. As long as he was focused on Jesus, he was walking. But then when he started focusing in on the storm that was going on around him, he started to sink. And that's the thing. Like I say, you focus on God. Keep God first. And then I use the acronym, your goals, the operation, and demand. You keep focusing on that, you could get it done. Like I know with this, in the IT world, it's probably, it's a lot of intricate stuff going on. Stuff get tough, and a lot of times you look at all these tests and certifications, and people get overwhelmed, get anxiety. But I think a lot of times, not, and it's just my personal opinion, I've never suffered from anxiety before, and it's partially because I always stay busy. I don't give myself a chance to be anxious. I don't give myself a chance to be anxious. I'm always doing something. I got plans. I'm gonna stick to my plans. I don't have time to be anxious because I'm working. I don't know how to sit around and do nothing. That's difficult for me. I set an alarm every day for 4:30. My wife would tell you I'm up at 3 o'clock looking around, seeing what time it is, and I just go ahead and go back to force myself to go back to sleep to 4:30. Because I'm always just trying to take those small steps to get into where I'm trying to go.
Man, you said you never suffered from anxiety. Man, you're blessed in that sense. But you're a person that works with a lot of people. You work with a lot of kids. How do you help people that do suffer through anxiety?
Well, first I give them an opportunity to express themselves to me, and let me know what that feels like to them.
Mm.
And then oftentimes it goes back to them not having a real plan. And that's what it comes down to, not having a real plan. And once you have a plan, so like one mailbox at a time, simple and plain, the book gets to the point. Establish your goal. While you're establishing your goal, gather information, create a plan, take action, stay focused, and work hard. So if you follow these simple steps, you have no chance to get anxiety. Create procedure, protocol, and process, and stick to it. And stick to it. And a lot of times that feeling that you may feel, that's anxiety, that's really nothing more than your body's response to telling you quit being lazy and get up and do something. When, like, if you go to the gym and you start working out, you ain't anxious under that bench press. When you got the pen in your hand and you start writing and you getting your thoughts out your head, that the anxiety comes when you sitting in your thoughts and you overwhelmed about tomorrow and you overwhelmed about what you got to do, opposed to just attacking the situation. And that's the biggest thing to it. If you always in attack mode, then it's difficult for that anxiety to take over. But when you allow yourself to settle in, and then you become the prey. You become the prey. Yeah, the zebra is real anxious out there in the jungle because they don't know where it's coming from. That lion ain't anxious. That lion chilling. You see the lion lion sitting there chilling just like this. They chilling because they know what the job is. They know what the procedure, protocol, and process is. I'm gonna sit right here till they start slipping, and when they slipping, I'm pouncing. And that's how you got to attack your goals. You got to look at your goals like they gazelle.
Man, hold up. Pause. I told y'all he gonna be dropping jewels. You gotta look at that need to be on a shirt, bro. You need to put that on the shirt ASAP. You gotta look at your goals like they gazelles. That's cold, bro. That's cold. All right, man. I think we talked about anxiety, and I like the fact that you talked about the plan. If you're sticking to the plan and you're being diligent in your work and you're focused on the work, you shouldn't worry about being anxious. Is that kind of summing it up?
And again, that's just from my perspective. I'm not an anxiety expert. I'm not a psychologist. Only thing that I'm speaking from is from my point of view, how I've been able to remain anxiety free. And the reason, so what put it in perspective to me was when I had my children. That was the only time in my life that I've never felt like that before. Because I was helpless. Like it wasn't nothing I could do. I was helpless when they were being born. It wasn't nothing I could do. So I felt overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. So I guess, in a sense, at that point, I felt anxiety. And look, because there wasn't nothing to do. And you ask my wife during the time when she about to give birth, I'm walking around the hospital like I'm trying to find something to do. It was nothing I could do but just wait it out. So that kind of gave me perspective, I guess, from a standpoint of, okay, this is what it feels like. But from my everyday, day-to-day life, I've been able to escape that feeling. I've been able to escape that feeling from a day-to-day life because it's really, for me, my expectations are different than most people set for themselves. And it's weird for, people look at it. I'm not trying to be a goat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a goat. I'm not trying to be fantastic. I'm just trying to be good enough. And that's the thing. Like, and if you're good enough consistently, then you will achieve. Because good enough is going to change from day to day. If you play basketball, good enough today might have to be a 40-point game. Tomorrow, good enough might only need to be 8 from you. But basketball has taught me, like the NCAA tournament is how I look at life. It's all about survive and advance. Being good enough on this day to advance to the next. And because I don't have these like crazy expectations on my life, I'm not letting Instagram dictate my desires. Because if we look at anxiety, depression, and all these clinical these clinical diagnoses that people are going down with right now, in the age of social media, all of this is heightened because we can't even decipher real from fake. So you see somebody who go to Amazon and buy a block of fake money, holding it to their ear, going and renting a car, and now we thinking that this is real life, and people are getting anxiety because they like, man, this person, they 17 years old and they got this already, and I'm 30 and I ain't got it. So the reality that like is all thrown off. So for me, that's not even what I'm worried about. And I've never been worried about that. And because of that, it seems like I've always found myself accomplishing things. And when I do the things that I do, I've never when I do the things that I do, I never look at it like it's a big deal. Because it's just like it was just something on my bucket list that I wanted to accomplish. When I went and played Division I basketball, it was when you look at the stats, 3 out of 100 high school kids get to play Division I basketball. That's a big deal. But at the time, I didn't look at it like it was a big deal. It was just on my bucket list, something I wanted to do. I figured out how to do it. They say every year, 100,000 people set out to write a book. 80 out of 100,000 finished writing books.
Wow.
And I done written and published 3 books. My 6-year-old son and published a book. So it's not like I don't look at these things like it's something else. I'm just trying to be good enough. I dedicate 5 minutes a day to everything that I want to accomplish. And I'm not trying to get it all done in one day. So that eliminates the anxiety right there because I'm just dedicating 5 minutes. And after I'm done with my 5 minutes, I move on. And in the end, I come back and check my pile of 5 minutes every day. And before long, I look and I done built the Great Wall of China. And not really trying to put the wall up at one time. It's just one brick at a time. One brick at a time. I use that with my exercise. I use that with my prayer. I use that with my meditation. I use that with my writing. Everything. I just dedicate 5 minutes a day to it and just be consistent with that. And it builds me up.
Man, I like that mindset. I do. I really like that mindset because you're not trying to put this heavy burden on yourself. You really just focus on whatever your goal is, the 5 minutes a day, and sticking to that and basically putting your head down and doing the work and not looking up until it's done.
Until it's done. And that way, when it comes down to it, so once I create the plan, I know what's ahead of me. So I never get overwhelmed because I'm not waiting to the last day to do the assignment. I'm not waiting to the last day to look and be like, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stick to it 5 minutes a day. And in the end, I get the results that I'm looking for. Long term, 365 days out the year, 5 minutes every day.
Okay. Here's a question. You talked about how you handle avoiding anxiety. How do you deal with not being motivated? Have you ever not been motivated?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time.
How do you deal with that?
I don't, and that's one of the things that I always try to correct people with when it comes to me and they introduce me as a motivational speaker. I don't deal in motivation because to me, motivation is feelings. Excuse me. And I don't deal in feelings. What I've observed in my life is that feelings will get you hurt.
True story.
Feelings will get you hurt. We should not base our decisions on feelings because feelings change.
Right.
From day to day, from minute to minute, your feelings gonna change. And if you basing your decision making and your doing on your feelings, you in trouble. Because how you felt on Monday ain't how you gonna be feeling on Tuesday.
Man.
So regardless of the motivation, if you have a procedure, a protocol, and a process to stick to, that's all that matters. It ain't no motivation. You ain't got. How long you been brushing your teeth?
Man, all my life.
it don't take no motivation to do it. Do it.
Nope.
When you go in the bathroom, you put the toothpaste on the toothbrush, put your toothbrush in the mouth, and you get the brushing. You stick to that procedure, protocol, and process. All you have to do is make what it is that you want to do a part of your life. You had a key saying out the other day. I was just driving. I thought about you, and it was like lab every day. No matter what you do, go to the lab every day.
Man.
Just go to the lab every day. It don't matter what you do. If you a preacher, open up the Bible every day. If you trying to become a IT specialist, go to the lab every day. If you want to be a bodybuilder, go to the lab every day.
Hey.
No matter what it is that you want to do, you got a lab every day.
Remember, so me and Chris Woods, he played professional ball overseas with my uncle. And that's how I met him. Chris Woods is a graduate of Weber State. Was you captain of the team?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was captain of the team. He went to, how far did y'all go in the NCAA AA tournament?
Well, that was my freshman year. I wasn't the captain of the team that year, but we beat North Carolina my freshman year, and then end up losing to Florida. They end up going to the national championship. I can't remember if they won or not.
Okay.
But yeah, I was a member of that team. That was my freshman year.
Okay. Well, either way, he played professional ball with my uncle overseas, and that's how I met him. I was in the military at the time. And so when I wasn't on duty, I would do music. And when people ask me where Lab Every Day came from, it's when I did music, because I was in the lab every day. And Chris Woods can vouch for that. Like, remember we used to do music, man?
Yeah, made a couple songs. Made a couple songs in my younger days. Somebody cracked up when I had told them when I made some music.
Honestly, one of the best verses I ever heard was from you. Chris Woods and this thing about real as can be. Nah, but yeah, that's what Lab Every Day kind of came from. And so when we talk about motivation, I like how you mentioned that you can't base your motivation on, or your actions on, your feelings. I like how you mentioned that. That's something I think people miss when it comes to saying they're not motivated. Because if you don't feel like doing something and you don't do it, you're not going to achieve your goals. Yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah, I mean it's very simple. Like, for me, that's the one thing that I've never tried to do, is overcomplicate things. Like, I'm always very, very simple in my approach. I'm very simple in my approach. Everything that I do, I don't believe in overcomplicating. It's just one of those things that just some people want to make everything super complex. When I don't, like, I just think that life is very simple. You put one foot in front of the other. Just put one foot in front of the other, and then you roll the dice and you see what happens. And the thing of it is that sometimes you're going to lose, and that's okay. Like, you got to just live with that. You got to learn from that loss, dust off, get up, and get back to it. Because all we see is the end result. We always see the end story. Like, when I meet somebody who's uber successful, they ultra successful, I always ask them, when was that one time that you just wanted to quit? Tell me about that one time that you just wanted to quit. I want to go back to the journey. Like, I don't care what you got. That's cool. I want to go back to the journey. That's what I'm interested in. I want to know about that climb. When you was climbing up that mountain and them pebbles falling in your face and your hands slipping and your knuckles bleeding. When you had no money in your account, what kept you going? And usually people always say, I just didn't quit. I just kept going. And it's always one of them things, like somebody, like an old cat told me, life gonna be hard no matter what you do. If you quit, it's gonna be hard. If you keep going, it's gonna be hard. You might as well get something out of it. You know, do the work needed to get the results wanted.
Hold on, pause. There's another one. Do the work needed to get the results wanted. Say that again, bro.
Do the work needed to get the results wanted. That's how it is. Like, and that's we are a want-driven society, but we forget about the necessity. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to be cute. Everybody want to be slim, trim, and everybody want to be rich. Everybody want to have. But you don't want to do what's needed to get to that point. And that's one of those things. Like I just take pride in being able to put one foot in front of the other, keep working, and just grind it out, and again, like I said, sometimes you're gonna win, sometimes you're gonna lose, and that's okay, and that is okay. That's okay. Some people gonna like you, some people gonna love you, some people gonna hate you, and that's okay too. Because what I've noticed in life is that hard work makes people uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying the person who's working hard, it makes people around you uncomfortable. If you ever been on the team and you working as hard as you can, people get mad at you for that. If you working hard as you can, people get upset because you working hard.
That's a true statement. Even on the job, you come into like you're a new person on the job and you working hard, and people they get upset and uncomfortable. That's a true story.
Hey, and like I say, hard work is undefeated. Because the one thing that I've always taken pride in is the fact that I'm going to work hard, right? I don't necessarily I'm not the best at anything. I've never been the best at anything. But I'm gonna work hard. And that's always needed. One of my mentors once told me, he was like, what's your skill? And I was like, I don't got no skill. He was like, what you mean? I was like, I don't do nothing good. He was like, so you don't look at it right.
Hmm.
He was like, your skill is your work ethic.
Hmm.
That's a skill. He was like, everybody can't do that. Everybody can't do that. And I never looked at it like that because I think everybody can. Like I think everybody can work hard. There's no excuse. Like it, you can work hard. Like I might not be 7 feet tall. I ain't nothing I could do about that. I might not be the fastest runner. I might not be the smartest. I might not be born with the most. My parents might not have all the hookups. But I could work hard. I could level the playing field. If me and you get in this mud together, I'm gonna bite you, pinch you, do whatever I got to do. But you're not gonna outwork me. You might be better. You might be bigger. You might be stronger. But when it comes down to who exerted the most energy, effort, and enthusiasm, I will be victorious in that realm.
You can apply that to everything in life.
Everything. Indeed. Indeed.
Let me ask you a question before we continue. You mentioned failure or failing. How do you deal with failure?
For me, I'm a self-reflective type of person. So I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna analyze it for a little bit, take out my notepad, write down, my rights and my wrongs. Because sometimes, even when it don't work out, you did some things right. So you got to make sure you don't just throw the whole, pot away because there's some stuff that's in there that's right. But you got to analyze it and be, you know, self-aware enough to be like, okay, this needs to be taken out, this needs to be added, this needs to be redone. You probably could map. So for me, I always look at it as a way to learn. That's one of the reasons. Like I consider myself autodidactic. Like I teach myself a lot of stuff, and the only way I learn is through trial and error.
Say that again. You consider yourself what?
Autodidactic. Don't ask me to spell it. I can't.
Break it down, though. Break that down.
I learn through failing. Like that's how I learn. Like I just keep doing something, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it until I figure it out. And it's like, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what like the whole lab everyday thing. That's the beauty of it because if you just looking at a book, reading a book, and somebody just teaching you, all you know is what they know. But once you go and you put your hands on it and you do it and you mess up and you put it back together, now you know how to troubleshoot. You don't just know how to do it. You know how to answer some questions because you ain't the only one who did this wrong. But you probably the only one who did it wrong, then figured out how to do it right.
True story.
So now, once somebody come and be like, man, we got this problem, can't figure it out. Oh, I know how to do that. Yeah, that ain't nothing. That's real simple. So I look at every missed opportunity as an opportunity to get a rebound. Like I live my life like basketball. You know what I mean? Like I might miss a shot, but I got a chance to get another stat. I might have missed, but I'm about to get this board. And that's how I look at it. Like anytime I make a mistake or something may not go the way that I intended it, I sit back, analyze it, and I always believe that wholeheartedly, especially if I do it the right way. It's like that just wasn't my time to succeed. Sometimes it's just not your time to succeed. You're supposed to go back, get a little bit more seasoning on it, and then come back, with it better for the next time to present it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pay your dues a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You I grew up. I never had my father in my life, but you were blessed to have your father, and you lost him at a young age. How'd you deal with that, and how were you able to mold your mindset to where you are now without him being here?
So I lost my father at 12 on Thanksgiving Day. Crazy thing about it, my daddy's birthday was 2 days ago. His birthday was 2 days ago. He died on Thanksgiving Day, 28 years ago. 28 years ago now. So I was 12 years old when he died, and a lot of my thinking comes from his teaching. So I always say like I had the best of both worlds as far as my parents go. My father was this well thought out, like very strategic type person. My mother was this firecracker. Well, my mother is this firecracker by any means necessary, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, doing like this is her. My father, he gonna sit back and map it out and then attack it. My mama just go. Hit it in the mouth. So, having that, that kind of molded me to be who I am because I have a little bit of both. I sit back and I plan, but once I got my plan together, when I take action, I'm going.
Right.
And being able to get through my father's death, it was him. He prepared me. He prepared me for it because my daddy always would tell me from the time I could remember, it was like the only thing that you know for sure that's gonna happen is that you're gonna die. Like you don't know nothing else about this life except you're going to die. Like, so with that said, make sure you live to the fullest. You know it's gonna end one day, so it makes no sense to sit around moping, crying over spilled milk. The milk spilled. Clean it up and keep going. My daddy used to say this thing. Like my daddy was a truck driver, and he used to get paid every week. He making pretty good money. We was kind of hood rich when he was alive, but he used to have this thing. Like he'd get paid, pay all the bills, spend all the money. My mother would be like, "What you doing?" He always, "It ain't nothing but money. I go make some more." Like, you worry about money? You ain't go make some money. Like they print money every day. What you worried about money?
For sure.
Have a good time. You know what I mean? Let's live. Let's be happy. And that taught me a lot because that's why like I don't take no moments for granted.
Right.
Well, my daddy, the 12 years I had my father, they were great. You know what I mean? Like they were great. We was, you know what I mean? Great. I appreciated him, everything he taught me. You know what I'm saying? I learned from his rights and I learned from his wrongs. And so that helped me today because it's like when I look at it, and I got young boys. You know, what I mean, I got a 18-year-old that I'm responsible for. I got a 7-year-old that I'm responsible for, and a 4-year-old that I'm responsible for. All boys. And for me, I want to be the same example. I want to be the same example for them that my father was for me. You know, the one time, and I ain't no sentimental dude. One time I almost broke down and cried. That's how I came up with my. That's how I came up with getting my son to write a book because, he came to me and he said, Daddy, you got these books. Why I don't have no book? And I said, because you haven't wrote one. If you want a book, go write it. So then he left and then came back with these notes and things like that. And I took it from him. You know, I took it from him and looked at it, then put a little, helped him out a little bit. But later that day, I'm looking and I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, this is real. This is a impact that I'm having on this boy life.
Right.
And it's looking like whatever I do, he gonna do to some degree. So I can't just do one thing. I owe it to him not to just go to sleep, wake up, and go to work every day. I got to show him everything and show him that everything's possible. The same way that my father did. The same way that my mother did. It's my responsibility to show my kids that they can do anything. That's why, like my son's book, Ethan on the Moon. Yep. You look at the cover like it's like a kid, and you got everything. He got on the back. This is the back of the book. He got his karate suit on, riding a skateboard, dribbling the basketball, reading the book. Do everything, son. Do everything. He got his guitar, his book, a stethoscope, a computer. Do everything, son. Ethan on the Moon. Shoot for the moon and miss, but if you miss, you still end up amongst the stars.
That's in the description of this video. So, yeah, I ordered that myself for my kids. But you also have a book on writing books, right?
Yeah, I do. I got a book. Here it is right here. Pen, Publish, and Prosper Book Writing Workbook. Turn your writing into revenue. Build instant credibility. Tell your story and leave a legacy. This is available on Amazon. Part of this book came along with my goal. COVID kind of and COVID killing my goal right now. Because one of my goals was to teach. It is to teach. It's not was. It still is to teach 100,000 students nationwide how to publish and become authors. COVID interrupted my groove because I was out in schools teaching kids how to write and publish books. And I teach them. And part of the book it says learn to write a book with just 5 minutes a day. This workbook provides procedure, protocol, and process to turn your dreams into reality. So this is a very, very simple, easy to follow book. Like I said, 5 minutes a day, in probably about a month, you should have your book completely outlined and ready to just put together.
You live by
30 days if you put 5 minutes a day.
Okay. You live by the procedure, protocols, and process in the 5 minutes a day, huh?
Definitely. Procedure, protocol, and process. And I was taught that, again, by watching. I just watched my mother. Every day, she would wake. My mother has a routine still to this day. She woke up every day, 4:30, 5 o'clock. First thing she does, go into the bathroom, brush her teeth, wash her face. She put her clothes on. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it don't matter where she got to go. She get fully dressed. This is her procedure because she says she always got to be ready. You never know. She get fully dressed, go grab her broom, start sweeping up in the kitchen, cleaning the kitchen. Now she just cleaned it before she went to bed. She's gonna wake up, clean her kitchen again, go vacuum, water her flowers. This is her daily routine. Into this every day. She's sticking to her procedure, protocol, and process every day. and she always ready for the call. If I call my mother right now and say, "Ma, I need you," she ain't even about to say what for. She about to jump up and she gonna be here. She always ready. And she taught me that just from me watching. It's just like, okay, these are the rules of engagement. And for me, learning, and when I'm saying learn, I learn from watching people. Like I'm a people watcher. I'll go with like if I want to learn something about a particular industry, I'll go and watch the worst person in the realm that's doing it. So if I wanted, let's say I wanted to learn something about IT, and I go to a company, I would ask the manager, who's the worst person you got? No, this is real talk. Like when I work with businesses and things like that, I ask like, who's the worst person you got on the floor? And I'm gonna watch this person because that worst person, they do something good. Because it's a reason why they there. Now, overall, they might be bad, but it's a reason why they are there. And I'm watching them and I'm picking up on what the worst person does good. Because it's something that they do good. And I follow that. So now I add that to my procedures. Okay, this is what they do to stick around. Mm. So now I know if I could master that, then I got a place in this building. If I could master what that person do, if I could master that, I could stick around. Now once I get in and I can stick around and I employ the protocol of working hard, and then while I'm here working hard, I know what they do, and then I figure out the process of everything, it's gonna work out. And I believe in that. Like once you create a procedure, protocol, and process, if you stick to it, it's gonna work. 5 minutes a day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like I can remember once I was talking to one of my wife's friends, and it had said something about meditation. I was like, "Yeah, I meditate every day." Like, how long you do it? And I was like, 5 minutes. She laughed at me. "Oh, that ain't nothing." I thought you was gonna say an hour or something. And I was like, "Well, I do it every day, 5 minutes." How often do you do it? You know, and that's the thing is just like I'm making sure that 5 minutes of my day, like I start my day the same way. I pray for 5 minutes. I eat for 5 minutes. I exercise for 5 minutes. I stretch for 5 minutes. I grab my piece of paper and I write for 5 minutes. Every morning. Wake up at 4:30. By the time 5 o'clock hit, I didn't accomplish more by that time than most people didn't accomplish all their day. So this is what my mornings. This is what it has done for me from COVID. This is so on top of this book being done, me having this book, me having this book, and this book. Because I'm doing 5 minutes a day. This is another book. This is another book. And this is another book. 5 minutes a day. And these are all, this is all finished work. It's just, now I just got to get the, putting together the, the covers and all that stuff. And then I got another 2 books that I'm working on as well and getting them knocked out. 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day.
Man, in the beginning of this live stream, you mentioned that you don't have big aspirations for your life. You're not trying to accomplish anything grand. And when you first said it, I was like, man, I'm always trying to do it big. But then, like, as this interview kept progressing, I really looked at or come to the realization of what you were actually saying. It's that you're more worried about the journey. You mentioned that. And you're way more focused on being consistent and working hard, and that being the ultimate achievement that speaks louder than setting out to doing something grand. Because every person you come across will know you by your work ethic. I know you personally because I know how hard and how consistent and how dedicated you are. And that, in my opinion, is way more valuable than showing up one time and scoring 50.
I agree, 100%. And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's really about. So it's funny because everything people might think we practice this because but we but like so this is the perfect like this book right here. This is like the perfect New Year's book, right?
Yep.
This is the new now resolution. No opportunity wasted. Set goals, act ASAP, master the moment. So that's what this is about. It ain't about like I don't believe in having New Year's resolutions and things like that. I just believe in the now. No opportunity wasted because when you look at it, that's what all life is a bunch of moments called now.
Okay, let's pause. Make sure, because that might go over some people's head. So, you don't believe in New Year's resolution. You believe in the now. And there's an acronym for now that you have in the book. No opportunity wasted.
Correct.
So, man.
Every breath you take is an opportunity for you to get better. Every single breath you take is an opportunity for you to get better. What you in the now is going to determine what your future looks like. It's what we talked about earlier. Doing the work that's needed to get the results that's wanted. In the now. In the now. And I believe in scheduling, like really scheduling my life. Like I have a calendar for everything. I got calendars all over the place. Calendars on my phone. I got calendar. I'm always because I believe in it. Like I schedule time. I got time allotted while I spend time talking to each one of my kids. Spend time making sure that I spend time connecting with my wife. Make sure that I take time to where I go somewhere alone and be able to just be with me. Like all of this is, and it's not difficult to do. It's really not difficult to do. Like some people might look at it and be like, "Oh, you extra disciplined." It's really not. It's easier to do this than to live out of control.
That's how you get anxiety.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because when you don't know where you're going, so I look at life like this. Okay, let's say me and you going, we neither one of us know how to get there. Let's say we're going to the mall. You driving, and I stop and I ask somebody for direction. They give me the direction. You just trying to figure it out. You gonna have anxiety because you don't know where you're going. You don't know how to get there. You just in the car and you just going. Me, I'm looking at the map. Oh, this is easy. Oh, I just really go up there 2 miles, turn left. Oh, that's easy. But when you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're doing, everything's spinning out of control. It looked like tomorrow coming too fast. Where like for me, because everything mapped up, it'd be like, dang, tomorrow, it's like this day long. you know, I got a lot of stuff to do. And it really, when you look at it, it's really not a lot of stuff, but it's just, it's just being simple. Just being simple, not overcomplicating life. I talk to plenty of people, and when I like doing one-on-one sessions, I stopped doing one-on-one sessions with people because what I realized is this: people don't when people most people I ain't saying all most people you do a one-on-one session with them, they really don't want your help. They're
Yeah.
looking for somebody to co-sign their bad behavior. They don't want to be corrected. They are looking for somebody to co-sign their bad behavior. And that used to that started to take a toll on me because I would start to get frustrated. It's like this is simple. Like, what are you? Why, why are you making this hard? I mean, it's just one of those things that some people can't they can't tolerate coaching. They can't take coaching. They can't deal with coaching. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I was able to gathered from my sports background is just being able to accept coaching. You know, somebody I could look my coach right in the face, stale face, like cussing me out, yelling at me because I ain't even looking at. I'm not listening to how he's saying what he's saying. I'm taking what he's saying and how can I get better from it?
Hmm.
Because I've never been around anybody, even when you consider somebody hating on you. So they sometimes they telling the truth.
True story. That's
Sometimes they telling the truth.
that's when it hurt the
You just
most.
gotta, yeah, you just gotta be willing. You just gotta be willing to accept it.
Yeah, yeah. True
You know,
story.
and that's one of the biggest things is just like having some type of plan. It ain't got to be nothing extravagant. Again, even if you figure out what it is that you want to do in life and just write it down and be specific though. It's like so like if your ultimate goal, I always go to this because it's something that people always struggle with. Somebody might have a goal and say, I want to lose weight, right? Okay, that's your ultimate goal. That's the big goal. But now we gotta crack down and make some little goals in between. So in the in between time, okay, I'm gonna do 20 squats every day. Whether you got to break it up in sets of two, do two this hour, two the next hour, but you're gonna get 20 squats today. I'm gonna make sure I drink 6 bottled waters. I'm gonna eat, a cup of lettuce. So just small goals. I'm not looking at the big picture. I'm not looking at the. I'm not focused on the big picture. Oh, I'm trying to lose 50 pounds. I'm not looking at the big picture. I'm just gonna just get these small goals in order. And if you focus on the small ones, then the big one gonna come.
True, for sure. Excuse me. Okay, let me ask you this. So, one of the key pieces that you mentioned on avoiding anxiety, you mentioned knowing where you're going, having a roadmap, and you also mentioned that you have a mentor. So, what advice do you have for the person that don't know where they're going, and they have an idea of where they want to go, but they don't have that roadmap? What advice do you have for that person?
I would say get yourself if you have an idea. So you talked about somebody who has an idea of
Right,
what it is they want to do.
but it isn't
Find
specified. It isn't specified in detail. You get what I mean?
find somebody that's doing it. Yeah, find somebody that's doing what you think you want to do. Find somebody that's doing what you think you want to do and watch them.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the people that mentor me, I've never met.
Bruh,
Like,
I say this
like
all the
some of the
time.
people that mentor, yeah, some of the people that mentor me, I've never met. Now I do have personal mentors, older guys that I grew up around, and they took me under their wing and made sure I was doing the right thing. But there's a lot of people who mentor me I've never met before. I've never met. I watched how they do what they do, and I okay, I could take this, I could take that, I could use this, I could use that, and I put it into play. So for people who, if you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do, I would say let's start with experimentation. Only positive things though. Let's not start only positive things. Let's try. Let's pick two things. Two things that you think you might want to do. And let's spend 5 minutes a day for 14 days doing those two things. And what you're gonna figure out within that 5 minutes a day for 14 days, one of these things you really don't like, one of them you do like. Maybe you like both of them. Maybe you like neither one of them. But you could throw them away and find something else. But give yourself a chance at something. A lot of times we don't even give ourselves a chance at nothing. I always thought that after basketball, there was nothing else that I want. Like it was like I don't know what I want to do after basketball.
Right.
Like I don't like it's nothing else that excites me. Like there's nothing else that excites me.
Hmm.
Like what else could I do? And then I just started this doing certain things. But then this writing thing kind of, it kind of grabbed me. It's like, man, I like writing. You know what I mean? I like it. I like putting this stuff together. I like leaving something. You know, and it was something that I started doing it. Dibbling and dabbling in high school, but then I really got serious after I got done playing basketball, and I was like, this is something I like to do. 5 minutes a day. Next thing you know, one day turned into two, two turned into 365, 365 days turned into 10 years, and now I'm still writing.
Right.
So I think that for that person, it just got to start doing something and just start doing it. That's the only way that you're going to just start doing. And that's the thing. See,
It,
somebody, who was that? Somebody had wrote something in one of the comments. They had would say,
you said comment.
keep it. No, it say keep it simple. And that's so. I got one of my books. I ain't gonna give y'all too much because I want it to be a surprise. But I got one of my books. One of the books that I was working on. The name of that book is How to Become a Great Kisser, and that's about keeping it super simple. And that's so it's I'm gonna that should be. I'm looking at 2021. Getting that out. So
For sure. Hey,
um,
all of Chris Wood's books will be in the description. He has one mailbox at a time, which is one of my favorites. A simple, broken down book. You want to kind of talk about this book?
yeah, yeah. So the book is very, very, very simple. So what it's about, a quick synopsis. It's about a father and his sons. They set out to run a marathon. In the midst of them training for the marathon, the father, he suffered a stroke and a heart attack at the same time. He was debilitated. He woke up and he wanted to run a marathon with his son. He didn't even know where it was at. He was asking, did he miss the marathon? So he struggled and fought back from paralysis, from having a heart condition, to running the marathon with his son. And how he did it was on his street. He looked at the mailboxes and he said, I'm going to walk from this mailbox to my neighbor's mailbox. And he kept doing it, one mailbox at a time. And what he did first was he established his goal that he wanted to run the marathon. Next thing he did was he gathered information on marathon running, how to train for it, how to get back, because knowledge is power. So you need information. Then he created a plan. How was he gonna do it? Mailbox at a time. Why you need a plan? Why you need to plot? Why you need to strategize? Because why? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So then after you create your plan, then what you got to do, you got to take action. Because here's the key. What you have to understand is that knowledge is power, but without action is nothing.
Mm.
See, that's what people fail to realize. Action is what equals achievement. So you need to take the action. That's one of the most powerful pieces to it is taking action. Then once you take action, what a lot of people fail at is because as soon as they start to take action, well, the next chapter is about staying focused. Because sometimes we experience a little bit of success and we get so tripped up in that little bit of success that we forget what we're here for. So staying focused and then working hard and finish. Real simple, 7-chapter book. It's really, really, really simple. I call it an airplane read. You could read it literally in a day because my book ain't about me. My book ain't about the book. My book is about you. My book is about the reader. My book is about the person taking the book, reading the book, getting something out of it. And that's what it's about. And at the end of the book, I got a couple sample um, goal setting sheets,
You want to show that?
time management worksheet.
You want to show that real quick? Some of the
Oh,
checklists.
the goal setting worksheet. So the goal setting worksheet at the end of the book, how to do it, how to out. And the book is real, like I say, it's real simple. So we can go to my favorite one is 3. Mailbox number 3 is plan, plot, strategize. Right at the top, it say proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's for me. That's the one that I love the most. It's just you know what it says. Real quick, it says once your goal has been established and the information has been gathered and studied, it is now time for planning, which is the next stage of the goal setting. So once you did all of the studying and the researching and gathering all this information, now this is when you create your procedure, your protocol, and your process.
Hmm.
This is when you get it all together. When you gonna put this together, you making that recipe. You making the recipe, and be detailed with this. Be detailed with it, because this is what where it comes. This is where the accomplishment comes in. Because once you got your procedure, protocol, and process, and you got to look at the opportunities of failure when you making it. When you making your plan, you got to have a backup to when certain things go wrong, because they will. Things are going to go wrong. You have to be prepared for that. But if you have a procedure, protocol, and process in play, because you got to do what's called a risk a risk analysis assessment. So you want to see what could possibly go wrong, and when you figure out what could possibly go wrong, you create a plan for that. It's almost like having a detour. So I'm going to go straight and turn right, but then if this street blocked out, I got to make a U-turn. Then I'm going to go 2 lefts, and then I'll end up to where I'm going. Procedure, protocol, and process.
I like how you strategize and prepare for everything in life. I like that a lot because we talked about navigating and avoiding anxiety, and you shed a lot of tips on that. We talked about not operating in your feelings to overcome the lack of motivation. We even talked about failure. You shared so much, man. Um, After basketball, you felt like there was nothing else that you really wanted to do. Did you have distractions at that time? People in your ear telling you what you should do? How do you avoid distractions?
So I definitely had a lot of people telling me what I should do, what I shouldn't do. Buy this, don't buy this. Stay away from this. And it was that right there was something. It was strange looking back. It was because it was some people that I felt like that I could trust, that was giving me bad advice. You know what I mean? So it was a real tricky time. It was filled with distractions, and a lot of the distractions came because when I initially finished playing basketball, I had no plan for when basketball was over. I had some ideas of stuff that I wanted to do when I finished playing, but I had no real plan. I had no procedure, protocol, and process for when basketball was over. I had some ideas, but I didn't turn them ideas into nothing concrete.
Right.
They was just wishes. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan to work into reality. It was just me thinking, okay, this would be some good things. But one thing that I had to do, and it was funny, and it was how I came about, with this book came along way after this, but it's the concept that came to me. It was this one right here, the 7 Steps of Success. So what I had to do was I had to do a real self evaluation, where I had to really evaluate myself. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? Self evaluation. And I had to become more self accountable, become more self aware, self discipline, build up my self esteem, start to manage myself a little bit better, master myself a little bit better, and learn to rely on myself a little bit better. And once I did that, I was able to eliminate the distractions, because then it was about me being focused, just having them horse blinders on, them horse blinders on. And again, it came back full circle, was me being able to put God first, focus in, and not worry about nothing else. Put my blinders on and stay focused. And when you do that, sometimes you start to notice that once you do that, the people, places, and things that are distractions, they fall off on their own. They fall off on their own because the distractions came from me paying attention to the storm opposed to keeping my eyes focused on the goal. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And once I focused in on the goal and quit focusing on everything that was going on around me, I was able to regather my steps and walk a upright walk.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up. You dropped so many jewels and gems in this interview. I thank you for taking time out your day to, and putting it on your schedule. You know, like you schedule everything, so I appreciate you doing that, man.
Oh man, this ain't nothing for me. It was you. It was, hey, you family. So if you call, I'm gonna answer. And I'll make time even if it ain't time.
Yes, sir.
And for some things and some people, that's important to do. Like you speak about how I motivate you, but you motivate me. I look at the way that you're doing things and the things that you're doing. The following that you've created um, online, and I can remember us having these conversations. Before you had even really got all this going, and having these conversations about how you'd be able to do this. And it was like for me just watching it, watch this materialize. It's like wow, I watched it build it from the ground up, and I appreciate watching the journey. You know what I'm saying? Watching it, being the front row, spectator cheering you on, watching it, because every once in a while, I might come in and watch the channel. I don't leave no comment in there, but I'm watching it. I'm just watching it, and I'm looking. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see my dog barking. My dog barking. I see big time over here. I see, and I love it. I love it.
Hey,
Love it.
man, see, that's why you motivation, man. And I thank God for people like you that's in my life that encourage me and constantly support me, man. I do appreciate that. I want to get some questions from the chat. You got time for that?
Oh, I always got time for you. I got time.
Cool. All right. If you got any questions in the chat, please drop them for Chris Woods so he can kind of help y'all on your journey wherever you may be struggling with that procedure, protocol, and process.
The one thing that I would say um, for the people who are studying for certain tests and certifications, figure out what type of learner you are.
Good point.
That's key. So for me, when I was studying, like I went back to school to become a physical therapist assistant. When I was studying for my board exam, one of the things that I realized about myself is that I think they call it a kinetic. I forgot what they call it, kinetic learner or whatever. I'm the type of person I have to learn,
Hands on.
yeah, and I got to be moving.
Yeah.
So I would take my book literally and go outside and walk. I end up walking like 10 miles reading my book, and
Man.
I would retain all that information because I'm moving like I'm walking, reading this book. I had to figure that out about myself. And again, that's what happens when you spending that 5 minutes a day with yourself. You start learning what work and what don't work. And if you sitting at a desk and you fighting and you like, man, I can't read this, I can't do this, that means it ain't your study style. We all are built to do any and everything on this earth. We just got to figure out our way of doing it.
Right.
So you have to figure out the study style.
Yeah. Like if you sit in a class and you playing with a pen or biting on the pen all day and fidgeting, that's a kinetic learner. Then you got people that listen. That's how they learn, by listening. Then you got people that learn visually. So yeah, that's a good point right there, man. That's a good
I
point.
think I think Aaron Jones got a question for you.
Oh yeah, the question is around certifications. It says how valuable is the um, RHCSA certification? I would have to look into that. I can't answer that right now in this live stream. I would have to do some research and get back to you on that air. And if somebody else in the chat knows, could you please drop that in there?
You know, and here's something that I learned today because I was actually doing some business studying. I don't know anything um, about your industry, but I do know about industry. I don't know how valuable each certification is, but I do valuable if you're trying to get a job because what that does is it shows employers that you are invested in your field.
True story.
So whether you can use it or not for what they're gonna hire you for, they looking at it like, wow, this person is somebody who you set out to learn everything, so you're valuable. So I don't know much about that, but that's one of the things I was learning today is I actually had a call today talking to like some hiring agents doing like for some sales companies and things like that, and was just some of the things that they look for and things that they look at, and that was one of the things that they were talking about as far as like people were trying to get into to sales is what I was looking at, and they were just talking about people who invest in their craft.
Self learners.
What are you yeah yeah what are you doing? What are you doing to build yourself up in your craft?
For sure, for sure. Well, hey, Chris Woods, one mailbox at a time, man.
One mailbox at a time.
His books, contact information will be in the description of this video. Okay, before we go, I think that's a good question. Who are the people that motivate you outside of your family? Because you mentioned you had mentors. Who motivates you, Chris?
Let me see if people. So it is one guy in particular that I say motivates me. His name is Chevy Sneed. He's one of my mentors. I've watched him since I was a young kid, um, and I just watched him build his small empire from nothing to something, and he just taught himself, you know, the ins and outs of the construction industry because that's what he's in. He taught himself, no formal school. He just taught himself. And I always laugh like you started with a shovel. You know what I'm saying? And now look where you are. So he's one of my big time mentors. Um, one of the another mentor is a guy that's from my neighborhood. I've never met him a day in my life, but his name is Junior Bridgman. He's not from my neighborhood; he's from my city. He went to um, East Chicago, Washington. I'm from East Chicago, Indiana, and he is one of the richest players to ever play in the NBA. But he didn't make his money from basketball. I I don't even know if he made $1 million um, from the NBA, but I think Forbes probably got him at like 750 million, his net worth or something like that. And I just watch the way that he operates, and every chance I get, I'm looking at a Junior Bridgman interview, reading an article about him, things like that. Just watching the things that he does, and it's amazing to me just to watch somebody like that operate on a large scale, coming from a small town and most people ain't never even heard of. They don't even appear on most maps, and I think that people like that, that motivate me. That those are my mentors. I look at people who are trying to do good in the world. One of the craziest thing is that one of my biggest mentors, and it's just I'll say over the past maybe like 4 or 5 years of my life, like I've really been studying and reading hard, reading the Bible hard, and it's like I always tell people whether you believe or not, this Jesus dude was this is incredible. Like it's like whether you believe it or not, so I can't tell you what to believe or not to believe, but this guy was incredible. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
do.
that's somebody that motivates me. Hey, we do have a question. It say Paul Cole Jr. It say, "What's your next goal?"
Shout out to Paul. Yeah, what's your next goal?
Um, my next goal I would say is to have a. I want to have a three-peat. So I want to publish 3 books in 1 year. Um, I think that I think that I'll be able to. Think I'll be able to do that.
Yeah,
Like I already got the 3 books written. It's just a matter of me just putting the finishing touches on it. But that's my next goal is to do a three-peat. After that, my 7-year-old son, he keep bothering me about writing another book, and I keep telling him, let's work this first one a little bit, but he on to the next already. So he on to the next.
that's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. I know for a fact you're gonna write. You're gonna get that 3P. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. Are, are you gonna go for your doctorate?
That's something that I've been working on. I've taken 2 classes,
Okay.
um, and three classes actually. The third class I didn't get a passing grade, so it was tricky because it was like I needed an 84% for it to be a B. I got an 83 point something, so that was considered a C. And
Uh,
then so right now I'm actually on probation.
so
So
and
I'm actually on.
so when you're going for your doctorate, you got to maintain at least a B.
So for me, it was that way because I came from WGU, and WGU didn't have grades. It was a pass fail for the masters. So
Uh,
if you passed the course or you failed it.
okay.
So because they didn't have a pass fail, I was academic probation. So my first 4 classes, I had to have a 3 point a 3.5 GPA, but I couldn't fall under a B in any of my classes. So a B is 84% in my coursework, and I got to 83. So I fell out. Now and again, it was one of them things to where some people would be discouraged by that, because right now I'm on academic probation, so I got to wait a whole year and a half before I can start the program back up.
Right.
And some people would be discouraged by that, but I'm not. I look at it like, that's just another bump in the road. Um, nothing, nothing, discouraging. My goal was to, be finished with my doctorate by the time I was 45. So it ain't like that set me off track. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm 40. I know for sure I'll be done with it within the next 5 years. So it's not really didn't really set me off track. And I really don't even know why I want a doctorate. Like it's really no reason for there's really no reason for me. It's just one of them things that I just think it's just something to do. I'm a lifetime learner. I just want to do something.
True story.
And once I told the kid, and he asked me why would I do it, and I say the real reason why I would do it is so I could go be a thief. And he was like, "What you mean?" I was like, "I want to go steal the information for you." I was like, "Because if I'm a doctor, they gonna let me in the room." I was like, "The only thing I need to do it. The key is the doctorate and know the lingo. So now that if I have a doctor next to my name and I know the lingo, they gonna let me in the room. When they let me in the room and give me the information, I'm gonna steal it and bring it back to you. So you don't got to go through what I went through.
Man,
So
the road that I traveled was nothing but rocks and gravel. You paid the way, brother.
hey, you feel me?
Yes,
You
sir.
feel me? And that's what it's all about. For me, I just think that's the one thing that we got to start doing as people, as human beings, is that we can't hold on to everything. We got to give it up. Like for me, like I don't care. I write books, but my goal is to create another 100,000 authors. 100,000 people learning how to write books. That don't affect me. I don't know how many people in the world. Is several billion. So if I find me a small niche of 10,000 people out of these several billion people in the world, that's cool. And then the 100,000 authors that I create, they find their small niche of 100 of 10,000 people. That's cool for them. Like it's enough for everybody to do everything. I don't want to hold on to everything because the one thing that I've learned in this life is that everything's borrowed. Ain't none of it's yours. Can't take it with you. So ain't no need to try to keep it all. So yeah, I wanna just get the information.
Let's go, Chris Woods. We've been talking motivation for the last almost hour and a half, and he shared so many gems. So if you're just tuning in, I will watch the replay, share it out, like, share, subscribe. Check out Chris Woods at LetsGoCWoods on Twitter, Instagram.
IG, hit me up. IG is what I communicate on the most. Let's go see Woods on IG and Twitter. I'm starting to get back on Twitter. I just started to get back.
Yo, can you do me a favor? But before we out of here, if y'all need morning motivation, he also has a YouTube channel where he used to do this series of Wake Up and Work, where he spent about 1 or 2 minutes and he just motivating you to wake up and work. Bruh, can you, on our way out, can you go ahead and just share something from that Wake Up and Work? Just a couple lines, couple bars.
Yes, sir. Daily dedication, determination, and discipline is all it takes. Hey, find you a pot, pour a little bit of that in, and you'll find your success. One thing you have to always remember, hard work is going to be hard, and that's for sure. But we're going to embrace that hard work because what we understand is that without struggle, there could be no progress. It's the struggle that makes you strong, so we embrace it. It's the struggle that makes you strong, so we embrace it. It's the struggle that makes you strong, so we embrace it. We ain't afraid of nothing. Everything. We running straight to the fight every time. Every time. Keep fighting, keep working, keep being resilient. Let's go.
Wake up and work. We thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all on the next one.